SHOT Show, always a wonderful time of year. Everyone gets excited about all the new guns, all the new designs coming out, but myself, I love a good resurrection. When many of you see coverage of Daniel Defense's first pistol ever from SHOT Show 2024, you're either going to be told or you're going to believe that Daniel Defense is merely rebranding the old Hudson H9. However, I have some exclusive information for you in this video where you will see that's not the case at all. In fact, the new Daniel H9 looks a lot like the Hudson H9, but it shares only one part with the original gun. The barrel? The slide? Maybe the frame? No, the sear block spring. Don't even know what that is. The point is, this gun has been totally overhauled from what it used to be. Before we get there, what was the Hudson H9? The Hudson H9 made a lot of waves when it was first introduced at SHOT Show 2017. It was in the basement of the convention center, what I call the SHOT Show dungeon. And I remember not even covering the H9 the first year it was at the show because there was always a crowd 4 people deep at all times to see this brand new Wonder pistol. So what was so electrifying about this gun? It's that it had the lowest possible bore axis for a conventionally configured pistol. I performed a review on the Hudson H9, which is a lot of what this B-roll is from, and you can believe the hype. The lower bore axis really does indeed translate to significantly reduced felt recoil. It was a nice pistol to boot, at least mine was. I did see some complaints about the pistol and about QC. I don't know if that had anything to do with the fact that Hudson went out of business, but they did, and the Hudson H9 was no more. However, behind the scenes, shortly thereafter, a few people in the industry were privy to the fact that of all companies, AR-15 manufacturer Daniel Defense bought the design from Hudson and embarked on a journey to make the reborn H9. This project started in the first quarter of 2020, meaning from start to finish, it was almost a 4-year-long process, which involved re-engineering every single piece of the gun except for that one. Daniel Defense shot nearly 1 million rounds of 9mm in the development process to make sure the H9 was done correctly. Is the concept the same? Yes. But as we're about to discuss, Daniel Defense learned the hard way they were going to have to nearly start from scratch so this gun would meet the high standard associated with their brand. As an example, of all things, one of the first components Daniel Defense learned that they would have to replace was the slide catch. The Hudson H9 slide catch almost never lasted past 2,000 rounds. Daniel Defense considered that to be unacceptable, so they completely changed the design to one that exceeds the original's life expectancy. Oh, and they spent 1.5 years perfecting the slide stop by itself. That goes to show you how much work went into this pistol. Not only did DD have issues with some of the parts durability, but tolerance stacking was also unacceptable to DD standards, leading to unreliable guns. Some guns would run well, but they said rarely would one of the legacy Hudson pistols run a couple of cases without some part breaking. Not only was the build overhauled, but Daniel Defense made some design improvements too. They made the gun smaller, thinner, lighter. Daniel Defense is going to introduce the H9 with a compact frame that'll hold 15 rounds of 9mm in a magazine, very similar to the dimensions and geometry of the Hellcat Pro. This should give you an idea that this gun, having a Glock 19 type footprint with a 15-round grip and the 4¼ inch barrel, will be as thin as a micro compact and only 1 inch thick in the slide. The thickest point will actually be the slide release, 1.2 inches. The H9 is going to be a very slim 15-round capacity pistol. The 70-75 aluminum frame will come complete with G10 grips, and even being an all-metal gun, it'll weigh a little over 29 ounces with an empty magazine, or 6 ounces heavier than a standard Glock 19. For sights, the new H9 is going to come with Hackathorn-style sights, a blacked-out serrated rear sight with a high-visibility front sight. It's going to come optics-ready. This will be accomplished via a plate system. I'd prefer a native footprint that would accept something like the de facto standard, the RMR, without the use of any plates. Plates or no plates, at least you're going to have more versatility with your optic choice. Nearly all the components that could be nitrided are going to be nitrided. All of the major components will be nitrided and DLC coated. The H9 should be tough. How tough? Some of you may know what a proof load is. That's a round loaded at 30% over standard pressure to really test the durability of a firearm in development, to proof it, so to speak. If a gun's proofed at all, it's usually proofed once. The manufacturer will shoot a proof load at 30% overcharge, see if the gun's still operable. The H9, they didn't run 1, they didn't run 10, they ran 50 proof loads, an entire box through one gun. They then took that same gun, lodged a bullet in the muzzle, fired through, and 2 bullets came out. The gun was still functional after that. It wasn't until they stuck 2 bullets in the barrel that the gun had a failure, and that was limited to the barrel bulging, so it seems like a safe and durable design. This is likely a consequence of the fact that Daniel Defense is using cold hammer forged barrels in the H9, just like it does with its rifles, all made in-house. Not only will you get great durability from a cold hammer forged barrel, but good accuracy too. The H9 should print groups smaller than 2 inches at 25 yards. This will likely be helped by a good trigger, similar to what was in the original H9. The Daniel H9 will have a true straight to the rear trigger like a 1911, while still being a striker-fired pistol. It'll also be drop safe. The bad news, of course, is that it will be using proprietary magazines. Obviously, you're not popping this thing into a Glock holster either because of this unusual recoil spring arrangement requiring this sunken dust cover that it has. But the good news is Daniel Defense is working with big names like Safariland at launch to make sure there will be holster support when the gun does release. I think that's everything. Well, everything except for the 2 big questions, when and how much. Those are going to be answered at SHOT Show, so make sure to check out our sister channel, TFBTV Showtime, which will have damn near 100 videos from SHOT Show because we're uploading and publishing videos within hours of recording them. I'll be interviewing Daniel Defense at the show and uploading that video to Showtime. See you guys in Vegas. Take care.